again, as always, welcome, welcome, welcome. And as is one voice with the lineage of our precious teachers, before any study, contemplation, practice, really connecting with the three motivations. So all just taking why, because that's the entirety of our practice. Connecting with our joy, our appreciation, our contentment, our trust in the true nature, and our very, very, very fortunate, precious situation. Engendering, nurturing, growing, expanding our bodhicitta, and the motivation that this time together and everything we can do is nothing but boundless benefit for countless beings in this world and beyond, throughout all time and space. And then as much as we can too, connecting with our devotion, with the purity view of just how truly pristine and perfect this moment is, and expanding our vision, dropping our mundane conceptions and boring habits we've been dragging from countless time, and kind of relax in the beautiful view we're being introduced to. So we'll just take a few moments with that. So we always take a little bit before we do our practice to just reflect on different parts of the practice and things that might be of help for just deepening and strengthening our practice, both formally and unformally, with our main meditation as well as post-meditation. And so I think this would be the third week where a few people had asked about the Mandala Offering. And so I thought what we'll do first is just go over the Mandala Offering a little bit, and then if there's time, can kind of continue a little bit with just reflecting on the three jewels, the three roots, in regard to the Refuge section of our practice. And so of course, there's so many beautiful instructions, and then in Khenpo Rinpoche's book, Illuminating the Path, there's actually pretty detailed, concise but detailed instructions on doing the practice and the meaning of the practice. But we can go over that a little bit now. So what is the mandala? A mandala is the whole sphere of purity. What's perfect and clear and spacious, kind of instead of a confused chaos, like what is this? The nature as it is, shining forth brilliantly. So the mandala, in that sense of that, is a whole sphere of enlightened activity and realization. And in essence, it's a way of symbolically representing everything that exists, be it on the existing to our mundane, ordinary conception, and then also all that as things are in the true nature state, the pure relative truth. So the whole of everything, both in the kind of impure relative truth as well as the pure relative truth. And of course, the nature of both of those is the absolute truth of the great emptiness, and indivisible with that, the great clarity. So that wisdom and compassion growing. And then with our mandala practice, and in fact every part of our Ngondro, we have what's called the the mandala of the absolute mandala of realization, or the mandala that is our objects of refuge. So in that sense, it's here being embodied as Guru Padma Sambhava, right? And all the refuge tree, embodiment of all the three jewels, the three roots, the Buddha, Dharma, Sangha, Guru, Devas, Dakinis, Dharmapalas, all the infinite realms of Buddhas and Bodhisattvas and Dakinis, Dharmapalas, enlightened activities. In essence, the realization of things as it is and the true nature as it is. And those who've realized it have perfected the path. They're or are well on the way in the bhumis and things. And so we're connecting with that in our practice. And so as part of that, then we're making the Mandala Offering, like it says in the book here. Where is it? The accumulation of merit. So in our path for ourselves, in our path of realization and our path of exploring the nature, there's two main things we're doing, which we hear again and again. Right? The accumulating merit, accumulating wisdom. And so this section of the Ngondro practice, which is the Mandala Offering, is this very powerful, so simple, but profound practice of accumulating merit and wisdom. And then as aspiring bodhisattvas, we're doing what's called actualizing our bodhicitta. And I think we've all heard too, right? The paramitas, the 6 paramitas, is another way of framing the accumulation of merit and wisdom, the practices that truly purify and awaken, our pure potential to really actualize our bodhicitta. And that all begins in one way with the generosity practice. And so the Mandala Offering is big generosity practice, but it's also, we're getting things together, we're making the time, we're gathering materials, we're doing the practice with our motivation. And that's also the morality practice. And we're doing that with our patience and joyful effort, concentration. And then as we're doing that, developing more and more familiarity with the nature as it is, which is developing our wisdom. They go hand in hand, like 2 wings, they say in the teachings, developing wisdom and compassion through the practice of accumulating merit and wisdom. And so, just find the page here it's on. Yep, page 31. So of course, in a profound way, we talk a little of the meaning, but I think most people's questions are about how to actually do the physical Mandala Offering. But again, just looking here at the text itself, right? We have the bodies, enjoyments, possessions, and glories of the succession of all my lifetimes I offer to the 3 jewels in order to complete the 2 accumulations of merit and wisdom united. And we can't, they go hand in hand, they totally support each other. And it's actually just like, in referring again to our bodhicitta practice, it's that as we develop our wisdom that truly makes the paramitas transcendental, or paramitas. And so we have this skillful means here, and like I mentioned earlier, we're offering everything. We have the mudra, and I brought some of the materials to show if you have the mandala plate and can do that. But we're doing exactly that. We're using our imagination, connecting with our joy and devotion and true, like just vast appreciation. The more we kind of really contemplate the Buddha, the Dharma, the Sangha, the nature of the Guru, the nature of the deities, the nature of the Dakinis. The more we explore the Dharma in practice, the more our joy and our appreciation can grow. And so this is like within this formal practice, we're doing exactly that. We're offering everything to the ultimate goodness. So that's both just connecting with that beautiful motivation we have, and then if we kind of think about it, how far-reaching that goes and how much that really is not just about something we're doing for however long on our cushion, but really thinking about what we're saying here. All the bodies we'll ever inhabit, all the lives we ever have, all the possessions we ever have, all the capabilities we ever develop, all the knowledge we gain, all the fulfillments and success and positive growth we have in this life, in all our lives, where we offer to the ultimate goodness and the glorification of the true nature shining forth for ourselves and others. That's truly what Mandala Offering is. It's connecting everything with our practice and trying to keep in mind everything that we're doing has that bodhicitta motivation and kind of doing it. And so maybe I'll get to the actual mandala part itself. So we're going to move the camera around a little bit. So there's a few things it's good to have when you do the actual mandala plate. I'm sure people have seen, but we have many. There's some mandalas that then also have this base plate and then have 3 rings and then a little ornament that goes on top. And that, of course, all these can be both, like I said, the kind of the absolute mandala as well as the offering mandala. When it's the offering mandala, then sometimes when those rings are used, might be in other practices, like for the 37-point offering. But here in the Dudjom Tersar Ngondro, it's more simple. It's just have this one base plate. And then we're making, in a way, 7-point or 5-point offering here. So if you have one of these, like we have them in our Chiso shop and they're available to get, or if you don't have that, you can have any other kind of object that's good. Nice flat, it's a little rounded. So there's this. And then it's good, usually when you're making the offering, you have many objects that we're offering, right? So the most simple is if you get some rice. You can get some rice that's fresh and especially for your mandala practice. And if you have the means, you could get some saffron water and brew the saffron water and then rinse and wash the rice in that and then lay it out, let it dry like on a towel or a screen. And then once it's dry, then put it in a nice container. You can do that. Also, if you have the means and you want to, you can also get other kinds of grains, different colored rice, different colored beans, different spices or things like that you can to kind of make the offering more rich. And then again, according to your capabilities, also sometimes people get like tumbled stones and semi-precious jewels, all according to your capacities. You can include diamonds, rubies, emeralds, gold dust, silver dust, all assorted things. But for most of us, I think keeping on the simple side is more in our means. But so the point is, it's an offering, and according to your means, making it nice. But here we just have rice. Again, you want to keep that in a clean container that's just for the practice. And the other part to have is then if you have some sort of a cloth. Like this is actually maybe a little small, but I grabbed it. And that's because I think if you've ever done this, it can be very explosive and little rice going all over the place and stones. So having something that can help catch the rice and you can put in your lap is good. So how should we do this? Should I move or?
You can see it on here.
You can see this, really?
And not your lap.
Right. Yeah, let's see. I'll just move this a little bit so it's less
Move the whole
stuff here.
table. You can move the whole table. Or you sit in a seat.
Yeah. What I'll do is, I'll just do it, so bear with me. We'll figure it out a few ways. So ordinarily I put this in my lap, I guess.
And just sit in a seat right there.
Yeah,
and
sure.
I can readjust.
You have a seat.
You grab a seat, a red chair.
Thank you, Walton. Oops, good. Thank you. So if you have a cloth, can you see me all? And if anybody has a question or something I'm forgetting, then you tell me. So you have your plate, you have your offerings, you can just put in your cloth. And then also if you have, can make a little bit of saffron water to have, to cleanse the plate in the very beginning. That's nice to do. Or if you don't have saffron, just having some fresh spring water. That can be nice too. And so, again, this is the outer mechanical part of what we're doing. And then, of course, connecting with the meaning and motivation is the really important thing. But then having the form is nice. So when you have the cloth, sometimes you can even, if you're somewhere, you can kind of have this be a little bit of a bowl in your lap, or a bigger cloth that can help catch things is really good. And then what we're doing, right, just like with our mudra, we have these 5 points according to the Abhidharmas of Buddha Shakyamuni, the way of describing the whole universe was Mount Meru and the 4 continents, the sun and the moon. So that's like the whole infinitude of all existence, Mount Meru and the 4 continents, and then the sun and the moon. So we're essentially redoing that with the plate. And so to start, we have the foundation, the base. One way we could think this is just like the basic space of our awareness. And then that's why in the very beginning, you just need to do it in the beginning. If you take a little bit of the saffron water and put it on the plate and kind of to anoint it, and then just cleanse the mirror of the surface of that, kind of just expand our awareness of the true nature, the great openness, great emptiness out of which everything's arising and inseparable. And then you have your grains, and then what we're doing is, I'll point here, when we have the mandala of our practice, if we are supplicating the objects of refuge, then as far as the mandala, right, that would have the center, the east, the south, the west, the north, that basic part of the directions. Like as we're doing our mandala practice, even if it's not geologically how we are, we're within the mandala of our practice. We're facing Guru Rinpoche in the mandala, he's to our west. So we're in the east, Guru Rinpoche's to the west of us, before us. That's the inner kind of geomancy of our practice in the sacred mandala of everything is contained, right? And so then with the mandala, what we're doing is, I'm going to tilt it, but so say the practitioner is here in the east, and so again, if we're tilting, looking from above, that means we have the center, Mount Meru, and then the east, the south, the west, the north. And so that would be Mount Meru and the 4 continents. And then we also have the addition of the sun and the moon. So we have these 7 points: center, east, south, west, north, the sun and the moon. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And there's a diagram of this also in the mandala section in Rinpoche's book, so that's there. And then when we're doing the offering, again, keeping the visualization and the motivation and these simple words, the bodies, enjoyments, possessions, and glories, the succession of all my lifetimes, I offer to the 3 jewels in order to complete the 2 accumulations. So we're doing that, and as we're doing that, you're just making these 7 little piles and offering it. And then as you offer, you bring it up, and then Khenchen Palden Rinpoche always made the point, let the offerings tilt the plate towards you, and the offerings kind of fall. And then again, the bodies, enjoyments, possessions, and glories of the succession of all my lifetimes, I offer to the 3 jewels in order to complete the 2 accumulations. The bodies, enjoyments, possessions, and glories of the succession of all my lifetimes, I offer to the 3 jewels in order to complete the 2 accumulations. And connecting with that motivation. And don't worry, I think you'll notice the piles spread. Don't worry if the pile falls out. You just be clear about your placement and your visualization and what you're doing, and just keep offering, keep going. That's what we're doing, just offering, offering, offering everything. Really, really reflecting on the meaning of what we're saying and using our imagination to really kind of engender and fill, this really simple form of the practice we're doing. And you just keep doing that for as long as that part of your practice session is. And something, when you do get to the point in your practice when you're doing accumulating and really keeping track of each mandala offering, counting as one, there's many ways to do a thing. So something that I found helpful after trying a few different things, where I, for myself, could just really focus on the meditation and the practice, was if I had a little tally counter. They have them some are mechanical, some are electronic, but just a little simple thing you can hold in your hand, and you just push the tab on it and it advances 1. So if you're using that, you can actually kind of hold it underneath. Sorry, I don't have one right now, but can hold it underneath, and then as you do the practice, the bodies, enjoyments, possessions, and enjoyments and glories of the succession of all my lifetimes, I offer to the 3 jewels in order to complete the 2 accumulations. And then once you do one, you can just click it with your hand, and then there it is. And have whatever, just like with all our accumulations, when you're doing that part of your practice, if your mandala offering's the main practice, you see how you'd want to do that. If you're doing it, I'm going to do 1 mala, then you look and see when you've done, at least 108, or if you're going by time, I'm going to do my mandala offering for 20 minutes or half hour or however long, then just know that, and then you look at the tally counter and you see what you've done and record that and continue with your other practices. And then of course there's other ways too. If you have a mala, or you can all play with it too, but I found that they're easy to get, and they're also good for when you're doing prostrations and other things. So I hope that's helpful. Is there anybody? I wish everyone was here and there was a way we could actually hear you out there, but anyone who's actually in the room have a question or a point? Yeah?
Do you count the Tibetan repetition or the English, or it doesn't matter?
You count either one. Count whatever. If you're saying it in Tibetan, then count that. If you say it in English, count that. They're both good.
And then when you're concluding the mandala section, what do you do with the plate?
Okay. Well, usually, like when you have the offering, what I do is, because here we have mice, and we're trying not to feed the mice or the other animals, so at least our offerings. Usually you just finish, and really, again, kind of, you can slow down, offer, and then, if you have time, if you have it all dedicated, you can just wrap it all up. Like here, I have the rice in the plate, and can just really wrap it up and keep it safe. And then the inside of the bowl kind of holds the rice. Or if you have a container, you can put it in that. I think keep it simple and practical. And then keep that in a special place. If you put it on your shrine or with your puja table, you can do that. Again, I'll say too, you'll see as you go, if you're using grains or other things that are a little softer, they will over time start to fall apart. So maybe every month or something, you can just scatter the grains or things out, for the animals to have outside, and then just start a new rice or whatever you're using. Or likewise, if you have other things mixed in, you just deal with it with however you have it, but just try to keep it fresh and clean and nice. And then after, just like with all our sections, if you have time, when you finish offering up with all of our imagination, our joy, our bodhichitta, devotion, commitment, then make that big mandala offering of just letting everything go and just resting again in a way in that basic space of awareness, which everything is. And like Rinpoche so beautifully say in the text, we have, again, we're accumulating merit and wisdom. It's like the mirror and everything that's appearing in it, they're inseparable. So, but just resting our awareness at the end of the mandala offering too, resting in Rigpa, resting in our awareness for as long as we have a little time, and then moving on to the other sections of the Ngondro. So I hope that's helpful, and maybe by saying a little bit, then people can write, or if they have more question about that or something.
I have another question. Maybe you went over it before. So if, say, someone's focusing on the accumulation of mandala, like when they do a session, how do they jump right to that section, or do they go through all the prayers, or kind of where you talk about how you would do the full session?
So we'll use this, since we're talking about mandala, we'll use that as an example. So traditionally, when we're doing our accumulation, we're focusing on this, one section, but that means we don't leave all the other sections away. So at least once a day, say in the morning, you'll go through your whole Ngondro cycle and spend some time in each section. But when we're doing our accumulation, that just means when we get to the point of, say, the mandala, we're familiar enough with the practice that we can say, okay, I'm gonna do 1 mala of mandala offerings, or I'm going to do mandala offerings for 20 minutes of the hour or hour and a half, however long you have for your practice. And then you can finish that, and then when you finish the mandala section, then you move on to the others. So in other words, just like always, begin the practice, opening prayers, lineage prayers if you have time and want to recite calling the Lama from afar, you can do that. But then definitely go through then the main Ngondro, the outer Ngondro, with the 4 thoughts that turn the mind, the inner Ngondro, doing Refuge, Bodhichitta, and then again, so say you would recite the 4 thoughts that turn the mind to the Dharma, say you recite that 3 times. And then you get to Refuge, you recite that. This is an example. I'm not laying down the law of the only way to do this, but to give some context. So you're reciting 3 times each section, 3 times reflecting on the meaning of the 4 thoughts that turn the mind, reciting with real connecting with the meaning, with the refuge prayer, with prostrations. And then going to Bodhichitta for, say, 3 times, connecting with the meaning. And then you get to the Bodhichitta section, and then you recite that, and really just spend more time in the container of your practice to do that for however long you have to do it. But so that you can do it and then finish that section, relax, and then move on, right? The next section, Vajrasattva, for however, say 3 times, and then go to the Guru Yoga and Amitabha and the final dedication. And if you have time to do a longer, silent meditation, do that, and then make sure to dedicate the merit. So at least one time, go through the whole cycle, and then have the accumulation part be the larger portion of the practice, but touch all of the other sections for as long as your time allows, and dedicate the merit. And then definitely Rinpoches have made it clear, if you're doing accumulation and you have time at another point in the day, then you can kind of make it a little more concise and open, say, 7-line prayer that you recite really with your joy and devotion, refuge, bodhicitta, and then you can go right to the mandala offering, and then kind of let that dissolve and rest in your awareness and dedicate the merit. So you can also do that, but the point is make sure to go through the whole Ngondro practice at least once in the day. If you have time to go through it all, then that's great. It really is so concise, it doesn't take a whole long time to do. But again, everyone has different circumstances, and I think the main thing is to really be familiar with our rhythms and be familiar with the practice, so we kind of have a sense of our pacing and what's a really practical expectation we can set for ourselves and goal we can set for ourselves with our practice, so that it doesn't become a burden, but it's actually a beautiful kind of goal we can set and fulfill every day, no matter, so make it really attainable. And then if we have more time to do more, that's great and wonderful, but to really set goals that we can attain is so beautiful and practical and sensible. So that's that. Yes?
Could you also give an example of, in addition to visualizing the refuge field, the refuge tree, what else might you visualize while you're doing mandala offering? As the offering.
Wow. What else might we? Well, you can just think how may everything we're doing in this life be of benefit to the 3 jewels. And you know what that means. It means it's benefiting everyone. We can imagine we're offering the universe. We're offering bodies. We can emanate many different bodies of all kinds, all genders, all forms, all colors. We can emanate, we use our imagination, offer everything natural, mountains, lakes, or just like if you look at the 37-point offering, offering all these beautiful qualities and substances and wish-fulfilling trees and wish-fulfilling jewels and pure medicines and, just whole worlds and universes and pure lands of, it's really, I think our imagination's the only limit as far as what we can offer, as well as our motivations, So I think, really practicing our imagination and our aspirations, the way our imagination can what in our imagination can help fulfill and expand and ignite in a way, kind of our joy and our devotion and bodhicitta. So I think So I hope that's helpful, and now we're definitely kind of going a little over, so thanks for your patience, and we'll do our practice now. So thank you. And I'll say too, with the Mandala offering, it's really connecting with these basic instructions, especially like Rinpoche's instructions, and is so good. And these are, the practices, the enlightened ones have given us. It truly is skillful means. So every little thing I think that we encounter with the practice is really meaningful. So, including like trying to make the piles and they're not staying perfect and overflowing, and so, but keeping it going. Okay, so we'll do practice now. And we'll go to the Mandala offering. And again, just kind of a little bit adding in regards to what we're offering. I think I went over at the beginning, and that's a little related to Lama Dragpa's question about what we're offering. And of course that's using our imagination, but also remembering the teachings. In the teachings too, we have we're offering up the universe, Mount Meru, the 4 continents, the sun and the moon on the outer level. So then we can also think those 5 points, then also in the teachings saying, the five aggregates, everything that makes up our entire experience, the way the Buddha pointed out, even on the most simple level of like, what makes up our entire experience, all the forms, feelings, perceptions, mental formations, consciousness, on the ordinary sentient being level, using our imagination, offering up everything, but then kind of keeping in mind that deeper teaching, offering up our 5 aggregates. And then when they're purified, right, then in the teachings, that's nothing but the five wisdoms in blazing, benefiting everyone, offering up that glorify the 3 jewels and benefit all beings. The 5 Buddhas, purifying all of our obscurations, our 5 poisons, offering that up, releasing, revealing the 5 wisdoms, blazing unhindered, for everyone, everywhere, in all the pure realms of all the Buddhas, throughout all samsara, the infinite disguise of samsara, just those wisdoms shining forth, removing all the veils of delusion. And then again, on the common level, the 5 wisdom mothers are nothing but the 5 elements. So everything, just kind of thinking too, reflecting on the teachings as we're offering up everything. What are the different ways the Buddha pointed out on the both, again, common relative truth, but also pure relative truth levels of the true nature. And then again, as we're offering, keeping to the best of our ability that openness, that spaciousness in our emptiness awareness. So I just thought to add that. So. Sera kunji ludan lonchot pal sopni zopje koncho sumlabu. We're also offering up, right, our body, our trunk, our legs, our arms, our white and red elements of both the inner universe, the pure Vajra body, as well as the outer universe. Everything is all within these mandalas. The bodies, enjoyments, possessions, and glories of the succession of all my lifetimes I offer to the three jewels in order to complete the two accumulations.